sometimes we can even hurt ourselves. We can do things that are not right. We can begin new addictions that just tear us down. And it's all because of these disappointments in life. And so I think it's something that we cannot be afraid of. It's something that we cannot hide, and it's something that as followers of Christ that we need to be able to take root and take hold of that and be able to know how to react when we have these disappointments in life. David, the Bible character, the kid who was given 3 rocks and he, with one rock, knocked down a big giant, Goliath. David, the kid who was the youngest in his family, but yet God said, "You're going to be king." David was king of everyone, and people respected this individual. People were blown away by him and his leadership and the way that he ruled the land. David faced and met disappointment a lot. David hurt because of this disappointment. And we see in the Psalms 142, we see this cry out that David has when he is faced with disappointment. Let me read to you Psalm 142. I cry aloud to the Lord. I lift up my voice to the Lord for mercy. I pour out my complaint before Him. Before Him I tell my trouble. When my spirit grows faint within me, it is You who know my way. In the path where I walk, men have hidden a snare for me. Look to my right and see, no one is concerned for me. I have no refuge. No one cares for my life. I cry to You, O Lord. I say, You are my refuge, my portion in the land of the living. Listen to my cry, for I am in desperate need. Rescue me from those who pursue me, for they are too strong for me. Set me free from my prison, that I may praise Your name. Then the righteous will gather about me because of Your goodness to me. When I read that, I am just amazed at how this king, this man of power, is so alone in this prayer. He is alone. And when we have those moments of disappointment in life, we feel alone. We feel like we're all by ourselves. No one cares about my life. That's what David's saying. No one cares about my life. No one cares who I am. That sounds like something many of us may have said to ourselves before. No one cares about me. We also see that David is just struggling with this idea that he is just in a very low point. Talks about being in his prison. Talks about being in a dungeon of some kind. And he's just stuck there. He is just stuck there. He is lonely. He is in a low point. And that's what disappointment can bring to us. And even we see these great men and women throughout the Bible that they're in the midst of disappointment and they talk about being just alone, even in their greatness. It's something that I think we need to understand. These unexpected hurdles of disappointment, they can knock us down. They can knock us down. David was knocked down. But I also think we see here in this psalm some steps of how David was trying to make the situation better. David was trying to recognize and understand what was next for him in God's plan. Now, I did share a story about my disappointment in my hurdle runs, but actually I was fairly decent at hurdles. I was. I'm looking up at Brett, because Brett ran hurdles. Did you run in 7th grade too, Brett? You did? Yeah. Yeah, you were better than me both years. So, I got ribbons. I got ribbons, and I cherish those ribbons. And they were never blue or red. Never those colors. But I got a ribbon. I mean, I think I finished 3rd once, maybe, and maybe not. I don't think I did 4th, but I'd take 4th. Anyway, like I said, and this may be a 7th grade memory, but like I said, I was pretty decent, you know? And so Anyway, but the one thing that I remember from the hurdles, and I was corrected in the first service because apparently everyone in the first service ran hurdles at some point. Tara Sprinkle actually went to state 3 years in a row in high school. She was telling me, she said, "That's impossible if you did that." And then I was reminded what I actually did. But in what I remember from teaching hurdles, and you can correct me, Brett, is that speed was important, but a pattern was actually more important. And so between the hurdles, you just don't dead sprint and jump. But what is more important is that you have a pattern. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jump. Is that correct, Brett? But I was saying in first service 1, 2, 3 jump, and that's like what Olympians. Is that right? Did you ever get to 3-step? No. See, so apparently in 7th grade I was awesome. So anyway, man, first service, some of those people are going to be like, "He was amazing." I don't know. Anyway, so no, it was 5 steps. And so, but what was more important is that if you had that pattern down, then you could really do well. And if you got thrown off of that pattern, you're going to start knocking over hurdles. I just remember that. You're going to just knock them over. And do you remember that time, Brett? Now, see, Brett's here, and I'm just going to talk about memories. So we're going to size. But remember, was it 8th grade? And you were running, and you like busted through a hurdle? Do you remember that? 7th grade? I have awesome memories. Brett busted through a hurdle. It was so cool. It was so cool. I do remember it being cool. I do. Anyway, but like I said, what was I saying? But the pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jump. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jump. I don't know if there's a set pattern with disappointment, because I think we all have moments of having different spots of where we are. And it would be great if there was a set of 5 or a set of 3. But I don't know if there is. But I think in Psalm 142 we see some healthy things that David does. And the first one that he does is that he verbalizes to God. He verbalizes to God his concern. He verbalizes to God his disappointment of where he's at. And sometimes we can just sit here and say, well, why? Why does he do that? God knows everything. But there are times in life where we need to be able to verbalize it to God. We need to specifically say what it is. We need to call it out and say, this is what it is. And sometimes I think a tack onto that as well is that we need to verbalize it to a trusted friend, to a mentor, to a pastor, to a counselor. We need to verbalize those things so that we can begin to overcome that disappointment. That's something that David is saying here in Psalms 141. He's just crying out to the Lord. He's making himself vulnerable for the Lord. He's saying, this is what is holding me back. This is my disappointment in life right now. Please help me, Lord. And then the next thing that David does is that he's very specific. He specifies what is going on in his life. He doesn't just do a generic thing and say, my left foot hurts. No. He goes into detail. He goes into detail. This is why my disappointment hurts. Sometimes we can say, I lost my job. I lost my job. And that's it. But we don't say, I lost my job and have a sense of feeling rejected. A sense of not being good enough. A sense of just, am I worth it? But we need to be specific with God and what's going on.